Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bluebird and Bee Tarot. So I'm really excited to dive into this topic with you today, which is what is your starseed path? What is your spiritual gifting? What is your soul's calling? What are you meant to do in this incarnation in a spiritual sense? And the reason why I'm so extra excited to dive into this with you today is because I do feel like there is a very strong spiritual awakening sweeping the collective right now. And so, yeah, I'm just excited and really honored to play even a small part in helping other people who are part of the collective kind of discover their calling and awaken their soul to what they're meant to do in this world. So yes, let's dive into it. So first, let's go over the piles. There are 3 to choose from today. Pile 1 is the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed. And the card that I'm going to be showing is the High Priestess. So this is the High Priestess card in the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed. And that's going to be pile 1. And then pile 2 is the Superlunaris Tarot. And this is the High Priestess card in the Superlunaris Tarot. Alrighty, and then pile 3 is the Ascension Tarot. And this is the High Priestess card in the Ascension Tarot. Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment now to see which pile you are most drawn to meditate if necessary. You can definitely be drawn to more than one, especially in a topic like this where you might have more than one thing that you are called to do in this lifetime. You might have multiple spiritual giftings. Yeah, definitely 2 or even all the piles might have messages for you. But if the time allotted on the video is not enough for you to decide which pile or piles you are drawn to, you can definitely pause the video until you feel sure. The timestamps are down below, and I will see you at your pile. Hello, pile 1. If you chose the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed, you have arrived at your reading. So yes, let's get into it. I'm very excited to dive into this topic because I just feel like there is a real energy of exciting spiritual awakening washing over the collective right now. And yeah, the idea that I might have an opportunity to be just a small part of helping some people recognize their spiritual giftings is very exciting to me, and that's a big honor for me. Okay, so Spirit, tap me into the energy of pile 1. What is their starseed identity? What is their starseed power? What is their spiritual calling? Feather, that's interesting. Ooh, 3 came out. Okay. Actually, yeah, I'll spread them out a little bit more. There's room. Give them each their own little place to shine. Here. I don't know why I get so into, like, the geometry of it. Alrighty, 1 card from this deck, please, Spirit. 1 card from this deck. Okay, so yeah, there is a definite idea of the celestial here. I mean, that goes without saying. But the feather, floating in the air, its realm is the sky, and then we have space even further out, further into the celestial. Then we have Stargate, link to your true home, travel to other dimensions. Yeah, and that is interesting as well. And then connect with ancestors. But that is interesting, the idea of traveling to other dimensions, because the idea of a feather floating on the wind, that is all about traveling. That is all about just very easily and without resistance riding the currents of the wind and pivoting when the wind pivots. So yeah, I definitely feel like that has to do with trusting your intuition to be able to sense when the wind has shifted, and then not offering resistance to it. Just really, when spirit shifts, when the winds of change shift, you just effortlessly pivot to that new direction. And yeah, with your ancestors being mentioned here, I would imagine that your ancestors are supporting you in that and guiding you in that. And then also with the idea of space, space travel, that, travel tacked onto the end of the word space is actually a phrase. So yeah, this could be something where, travels that you take in the 3D, geographic travels, learning about new cultures, learning about different ways of approaching spirituality, in even just different ways of approaching everyday life. I think that's one thing that people don't necessarily think of as often when it comes to spiritual development, is just the inherent spirituality of the mundane, of just the things that we do every day. And if you think about it, like the most common activities, brushing your hair. I mean, if you think about doing that in a meditative way, if you focus on the sensations, really embody the mind-body connection, the repetitiveness of it, the way that it's almost ritualistic. I mean, just that tiny little part of your day can actually be approached in a spiritual way. And yeah, there are actually a lot of cultures that have a lot of rituals established around recognizing the spirituality in the small stuff. So yeah, I definitely think that is something that is very important to you. Group 1 is travel and learning the ways that other cultures and other even just personality types approach the spiritual. Okay, then we have attunement, harmonious connection, your own spiritual key, healing with your hands, and transmission, sharing spiritual knowledge, divine communication, and experiencing altered states. So this tells me that perhaps the exact gifting that you have is something like Reiki, or perhaps you are even unconsciously very gifted at people can feel your aura very strongly with even just the slightest physical touch, that kind of thing. But I do feel like the closer that you are to the universe and to spirit, the more in tune you're feeling with spirit and the celestial, the 5D, the more powerful that comes across to other people. Yeah, so definitely I think that, I think that you are honestly, I feel you as being maybe a bit torn, pile 1, because I think that you are very interested in pursuing your own spiritual development, which would lead to you perhaps going hermit mode for lengthy periods. But you are actually called to share your gifting and even share your knowledge with others. And I think that that's the part that is a bit like stepping out of your comfort zone. So yeah, in addition to actual 3D geographical travel, I feel like just metaphorical travel to that unknown land known as not your comfort zone is something that you are also being called to do, pile 1. Yeah, and also just as kind of a, well, not as a side note, let's make it a note that with the emphasis on travel here, and then with experiencing altered states, that astral projection may be something that you either have been interested in pursuing or that you have experienced. Yeah, you're a healer. Okay, am I holding this upside down? Sure am. I was like, what? Those don't feel like they should be reversed. And I don't generally take reversals, but when they do come out, like, I kind of try to look at them as like, does it feel right or does it not? And both of those were like, no, it doesn't feel right. And as it turned out, it was not. Oh, yeah, okay. I think I'm seeing why this calling of teaching or passing on your gifts to others is so uncomfortable. I think that you have a very tender heart and tender soul, not just in the sense that you feel affection for others very easily, but I think fragile also. I think easily wounded, easily damaged. Yeah, I think that it is easy for you to... Yeah, I think that it is easy for you to feel just cut to the absolute bone by even just a small remark or a small rejection. Here's the thing though, pile one, but not pile two, pile one. Here's the thing though, pile one. I think you're tougher than you're giving yourself credit for. I think that a lot of this is the fear of what that would feel like to be under public scrutiny. I think you would be able to develop a thick skin just in terms of, I mean, I don't think that you want too thick of a skin. There's this old Jewel song from the 90s, which is called I'm Sensitive, and the kind of key line of it is I'm sensitive and I'd like to stay that way. And I think that's you. And I think that that's what the universe wants for you as well. Spirit doesn't want you to get jaded. But I do think that, so say for instance, if you are planning to start posting on social media and you feel called to start a social media platform to share your spiritual knowledge. And so I think that you're afraid of the comments that, I mean, we all know what social media is like. It can be quite brutal. But I think in situations like that, in that one specific situation, I do think that you could rise to a place where you're so confident in yourself and your knowledge, and you're so, like, not that it doesn't sting, but it certainly doesn't sink in or affect you because you recognize that that says more about the person leaving the comment than it does about you. So yeah, I do think that you could develop somewhat of an immunity to that rejection sensitivity in specific, very specific ways that would not make you, sort of like leathery and jaded. What? Why did the High Priestess card come out as the outcome? I swear, I didn't plan that. There's no way I could have. Oh, I mean, I guess if I was some sort of like sleight of hand magician, I could have, but I think pile one, if you've watched my channel at all, you will see from the somewhat clumsy way that I just naturally deal the cards that I am not that girl. So, wow, pile one. Pile one, you have a calling. Pile one, I'm going to cry right now. The world is waiting for you. The world is waiting for you. And there are specific people in the world who really need what you have to offer, pile one. They are waiting for the breakthroughs that your perspective can provide. And you know what's interesting is, like so many qualities that we think are our biggest weakness or the thing that's holding us back, I think that this tender heart of yours is going to end up being your biggest strength, because I think that people can sense it, whether you're dealing with them one-on-one or whether it is through a screen. I think that you care about people. I think that you care about people globally, but I think that you care about people individually. I think you don't want to see them hurting. You don't want to see them held back. You want to show them how they can take this sword and just cut through all the binds that are holding them down and holding them back. And yeah, with the Six of Wands, I do think that you are going to garner acclaim. Word of mouth is going to spread, pile one, because you are meant for this work. It's not that, I think the fact that you are a person that wouldn't seek fame, in fact, the idea of fame, I feel like is even holding you back a little bit from pursuing this dream, this calling. But I think that that's exactly why word is going to spread, because people are going to sense the sincerity of your beautiful, beautiful heart. Yeah, they're going to see that you're not just doing it for clout, for likes. You genuinely want to connect with people and help them just live a better life, a more evolved life, a life that is more connected to spirit, a healed life. You are quite genuine about that. That's not even what's making me cry, although you have a beautiful energy, pile one. But it's the idea of how many people you are going to help. How many people are currently, they don't even know they're waiting for you, pile one, but you are what they are waiting for. Yes, this is beautiful. So I want to pull, what are some crystals that would be useful for you to work with in order to move closer to this, in order to progress on the journey of fulfilling this lovely calling? Golden calcite. Yes, leadership, self-worth. Yes, you are made to be a leader, but I don't think you view yourself that way right now. I think you view yourself as like, oh, I'm too soft. Oh, I'm too sensitive. That's what makes you an amazing leader. That's absolutely what makes you an amazing leader. You are meant for greatness, pile one. And the only thing holding you back right now is that you don't view yourself as great. Like that needs to shift. But here's the thing. I feel like it will be easier for you to move forward and take action if you don't think about yourself and moving toward this path of acclaim, because I feel like that will always be uncomfortable for you even after you've achieved it. Think about the people you're going to help, because that, I think, is the magnet and the carrot that's going to draw you forward, because that's your heart. Okay, so then we have, it says, I take the lead in my own life. Absolutely, as we all should. And I know my self-worth. Again, as we all should. But yeah, it's not always so easy. But yes, that is my wish, my prayer, and my intention for myself, for everybody within the sound of my voice, is that we would all know our own self-worth. Okay, then we have prosperity and transmutation. That's interesting. We have transmission. What? Why did I say that word so weird? We have transmission and transmutation. So yeah, this is like all the puzzle pieces are falling together, pile one. And so with prosperity, especially coming out connected to the Six of Wands, like, yeah, I don't think acclaim is the only thing that's going to be chasing you, pile one. I think money, 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 money is also going to chase you. And the reason why it's attracted to you, pile one, is because you are not chasing it. You are merely existing in the vibration that you are called to exist in. And fame chases you. Money chases you. Yes, I attract prosperity into my life by believing I deserve it. Yes, it comes back to self-worth. Doesn't everything? Yes. I love it. I transmute lower vibrational energies into higher ones. Yes, please. One more, please, Spirit. Okay, and then we have ruby. Yes, and so by the way, that's also solar plexus chakra, heart chakra, and then we have root chakra. So we have spontaneity and motivation. Yes, so here's the thing. Perfect is the enemy of good. You can get stuck in analysis paralysis. You can get stuck in just infinite planning, but take action. Just take action. You will never be able to know exactly what you are going to need to know until you just dive in. That's the only way to find out. And with self-worth, trust yourself enough to know that when something arises that you may not have prepared for, because you can't prepare for everything, you will be able to handle it. You will figure it out, pile one. Because you are capable and you are strong and you can do it. Yes, I allow myself to be spontaneous and I feel motivated to achieve my goals. Yes. Oh, and I will just say before we head into the channeled advice from Spirit about how to move forward on this path, that if you want to know what decks that I use, I have a section at the end where I go through all the decks. Alrighty. Spirit, tap me into advice for pile one, please. What is some advice for pile one? Okay, in this, remember to take care of yourself and your needs. Yeah, I think that doing really beautiful things for yourself, things that you would normally say, well, is that really necessary? Like, cook yourself a huge, beautiful, elaborate dinner, pile one. Why? Because you deserve it. Don't ever say to yourself, why would I do that? It's just for me. Like, there's no such thing as just for you. You deserve it. Anything that you would do for someone else, pile one, do it for yourself. That's going to boost your sense of self-worth. Be honest with yourself and stay in alignment with who you are. Yes, so when this fame starts to catch up with you, when this money starts to catch up with you, I think that you being this very tender person, this very authentic person that you are, you will be, I think, of course you'll enjoy it, but you'll be like, I don't want this to change me. I don't want to be different. So don't let it. Yeah, stay grounded, stay connected with spirit and connected with your innermost self. Yeah, stay connected with the people around you who keep you real. You're the high priestess. You can do it. You can definitely do that. Okay, do not ignore it. Talk about it. Yes, stay connected to the people in your life who keep you very real. And then have compassion in this time for yourself and others. So yeah, that's the other thing that can sometimes happen in the time between when we recognize that we have a big goal or a big calling, and when that calling actually comes to pass, is that we can be very down on ourselves because it's not happening fast enough, and we feel like that must be a shortcoming within ourselves, or we're not doing enough, or we're not trying hard enough. Yeah, everything happens in divine timing. What's for you, pile one, will not miss you. It can't, because it's for you. So yeah, just, relax a little bit. You do your part, which is taking action, being connected to spirit, keeping that tender heart of yours tender and pure. Let spirit handle the timing. Let spirit turn the wheel. You do your job. Let spirit do theirs. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Alrighty. Well, this was unbelievably beautiful. Pile one, my gosh. I expect big things from you, pile one. That's something that I'm like, don't put pressure on yourself. And the very next thing I do is turn around and put pressure on you. But yes, no pressure, pile one. The only thing I really expect from you is that you are generous and great and give yourself grace and just follow your heart and follow your calling. I love it. I love it. So that is what I have for you. If you would like to connect and get a personal reading, the information is in the description. I would love it if you would subscribe if you'd like to see more readings like this. Yes, comment if you want to share, just like anything that you feel comfortable sharing about your journey. I would absolutely love to hear it. And I think that's it. I'm the worst personal salesman ever. I'm like, what was I supposed to say? I think that's it. But I will wrap this reading up by letting you know that you are loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. Okay, bye, pile one. Hello, pile two. If you chose the Superlunaris Tarot, then you have arrived at your reading. So let's take a look. Let's tap in. Spirit, tap me into the energy of pile two. What is their spiritual calling? What is their purpose? What is their soul's purpose? What is their starseed gifting? Yeah, we're actually going to get, so this is the oracle that actually gave me the idea for this reading. And in pile one, 3 of these cards popped out and it actually worked out beautifully. So I'm going to get 3 of these again. Yeah, this is card called the Starseed Power Oracle, I think. I'll look it up before I do. So yeah, if you ever want to know the decks that I use, I have a section at the end of the reading where I go through all of them. Well, oh my God, pile two. If we did not get tree right next to tree of life, come on now. Come on now. So spirit has a huge calling on your life then, huh, pile two? Cool, nice to meet you. That's amazing. So, okay, so we've got Tree of Life, personal development, spiritual network, accelerated growth. We've got awareness, which is sharpen your perception, be present in the moment, look before you leap. Then we've got liminal space, on the verge of change, crossing a threshold, being in between. Yeah, and trees also, I very much connect with the idea of, just groundedness, your roots just going down so deep into the soil that you are so solid and so sturdy and you can withstand anything. So yeah, I do think that your calling has to do with helping people to be grounded at times in their life when they are in these transitional phases. And I mean, come on, pile two. Like, we know transitional phases can be scary. They can be messy. They can be I think that there is somewhat of a temptation to think of the idea of spiritual ascendance or spiritual transformation as this beautiful, glowy, kind of sparkly thing. And oh my God, that's not what it's like. It's like sobbing in bed at 4 a.m. because you don't even know what life is anymore. And everything that you thought that the future was going to be has fallen down around you. And what you don't know is on the other side of this transformation is a happier, more evolved, more fulfilling life than you ever could have imagined in the first place. But that's not what it feels like when you're in the in-between. When people talk about the transformation, a very potent symbol of transformation being the butterfly. People think about the caterpillar and they think about the butterfly. Here's what people don't like to talk about as often: the cocoon. Because the cocoon is gross. The cocoon is when the caterpillar breaks down into just goo and has to completely rebuild itself. But if you are a person who is committed to spiritual growth, a good portion of your life is going to be spent in that goo phase. Yeah, because growth is not pretty. Growth is painful, and growth can feel incredibly destabilizing. And I think that is what scares a lot of people. They start to grow, and then it feels destabilizing, and they think that means they've made a mistake. So they kind of dart back to their comfort zone like a bunny rabbit just diving back into its den, into its safe place. Here's what I think your calling is, pile two. You are going to, I think, guide people through that process of change in a way that you make them aware of what it's going to be like ahead of time, so that it doesn't come as a surprise, so that they don't misinterpret it as thinking that they are going the wrong direction or making a mistake. And then I think that you are going to be there to provide comfort and support and stability to them when they are actually transiting that in-between space. And here, with this last card coming out here being view, I think that is, that's kind of the crux of it. That's going to be your main tool, is to let them focus on the view that they are right now looking at with their eyes, and letting them know that can be where you live. That beautiful view that you see on the horizon, all the good stuff is over there, but you can't get it. You can't get to it without a journey that is going to seem difficult while you are undertaking it. But I'm going to be here to let you know that you are safe. I'm going to be your guide. I have crossed this mountainous path before. I have gone through this dark, forested, seemingly scary journey before. I know the way. I will guide you through. And I think that's an incredibly, it's a beautiful spiritual calling, but I also think that you're going to want to make sure that you take plenty of time to nurture your own spirit, because when you are spending a lot of time just really like meeting people where they are and sharing energy with people that are really scared, really destabilized, maybe really angry. Like people respond to fear in different ways. And a lot of that might get aimed at you because you are the person that is there and you have demonstrated stability. Yeah, I think that self-care is going to be really important here. Another thing, this also strikes me as this same sort of journey or same sort of template could also be applied to working with people who are in the end stages of their life and helping them to prepare to cross over into the 5D. And yeah, again, I mean that, like working with people who are in hospice care or something like that. And again, that is an incredibly beautiful calling. And I mean, you're providing an invaluable service to people who truly need it. But again, I think taking time to make sure that you are caring for your own like spiritual stability, emotional stability, energetic stability, that's going to be really important here, pile 2. I think that you are an incredibly strong person. I think that's the other meaning of these 2 trees coming out right next to each other here, is that I think your root system is just so deep and so well developed. And I think keeping yourself strong is sort of job 1 here. I mean, it's that old analogy about the oxygen mask, is that you've got to make sure that you are well taken care of, or you are not going to be in a position to care for anyone else. Well, that's interesting with the Page of Cups coming out here, looking at it through the lens of this view, because yeah, I think that is a great way to inspire excitement, motivation, a sense of adventure in people who are in transitional phases of their life, is just like approaching it with a sense of curiosity and exploration. Like, what? Okay, so you're grieving what you lost, but there is now a whole new world that is opening up to you. What might be on the other side? What sort of incredible things might be possible now that wouldn't have been possible before? Okay, so yeah, with 2 pages coming out in a row, yeah, I mean, the page is the student of the court cards. So yeah, I think you probably are dealing with people who are learning a whole new reality. They are learning. Yeah, so this could be people in career transition. This could be, people who are, re-entering the dating world after, exiting a long marriage. Or yeah, it does strike me as something that, like, you're working with people who in one way or another their entire lives have been turned upside down, and they have to learn a whole new way of being in the world. And yeah, with this one being the Page of Pentacles, I think that's another thing that you can instill in them, not just a sense of curiosity and wonder for what might be ahead of them, but assuring them that, yes, I understand that it feels like stability is a myth right now. It feels like stability was just an illusion, but there is a time on the horizon where stability will reappear, and it will be a stability that you have now intentionally provided for yourself. So it will be one that you can trust significantly more. And honestly, the ultimate stability in the world is trusting in yourself, is not trusting in external circumstances, but trusting that whatever happens, you're strong enough to deal with it. And I think that is also what you are instilling in people. And I think the only reason you can is because you know that about yourself. And man, that is a very powerful foundation, pile 2. I think you're going to do some amazing work. You probably already are. This strikes me as less like, I mean, not that you couldn't be watching this going like, oh, wow, okay. But it strikes me as there's a lower percentage of people that are kind of having their minds blown by this information, and a higher percentage of people that are like, yeah, that actually pretty accurately describes my life's work. Oh, that's too many, Spirit. Oh, love it. I've always loved that sun card from this deck. I mean, first and foremost, it has dog. Yeah, this is really beautiful. So, with the Lovers, this definitely could be people whose kind of domestic situation or household situation has imploded, and you are walking them through the process of creating a beautiful, you know, showing them that the situation that they came out of, you know, when that dark night of the soul happened, when that tower moment happened, that particular home may have fallen apart, but that doesn't mean that the idea of a happy home, a stable home, a nurturing home, a home that leaves a legacy for the future, that doesn't mean that that is not possible for them. That idea, that concept is still meant for them. That is what's on the other side of the horizon for them. And yeah, I think, yeah, with this, I'm really noticing this flower that is right in the middle of the Lovers card. And I think that that is one of the things that people need to develop a real deep knowledge of, not just a cognitive knowledge, but a very deep knowledge of, is that you have to bloom where you are. You have to bloom where you're planted. You have to bloom within yourself. And then happiness, stability, love, all of those things will come to you because of this blooming energy that's within you. It's not about rushing out and finding another situation that you hope will make you happy. It's about developing stability within yourself, and then a stable situation finds you. It's about developing happiness, joy, fulfillment within yourself, and then the external trappings of those feelings find you. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is really kind of manifestation 101, like law of attraction, law of assumption things. So yeah, that could also be something that either you're focused on, like you're actually teaching people about it, or that it's a tool in your toolkit. Yeah, but the main thing here is that you are meant to help people that are in transitional phases, and you are going to show them that there is life on the other side, that there's stability on the other side. Yeah, you do. You have a powerful calling on your life, pile 2. Okay, so now I want to get some crystals that it would be beneficial to work with in order to move forward on this path. And I will say as well, if I would love it if you would like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more readings like this. Also, if you would like to book a personal reading, the information is in the description. I would love to work with you one-on-one. Yeah, but definitely like, comment, and then if you'd like to see more readings like this, subscribe. That really, it helps me, it helps the channel. Okay, so we've got Bumblebee Jasper. Okay, I mean, obviously, Bluebird and Bee Tarot, like bees are very important to me. It does say it in the description, like a little reasoning behind the name of the channel, but I was a classroom teacher for 5 years, and my classroom theme was the bees. So that's one of the reasons I feel a strong connection to bees. And I noticed they're having a real moment right now. Like there's so much bee decor out there. I'm like, oh, I wish that was also bluebirds. That would be amazing. But here, okay, so we have Bumblebee Jasper, honesty and celebration. So I choose to be honest with myself and others, and then I allow myself to celebrate each of my victories. Yeah, that is another thing that I think when people are in transitional periods, they're often so focused on the end goal that they don't stop and celebrate all of the smaller milestones. And you really have to. You've got to give yourself credit. Oh, and that was the solar plexus chakra. Okay, then we have citrine, which is the sacral chakra. Creativity and happiness. Yes, happiness coming out immediately before the sun card. Come on now. Come on now, Spirit. Okay, I create endlessly and I choose to be happy. Yeah, that is, I mean, that is the very idea of this flower in the middle of the Lover's card, is that you choose to be happy. You create happiness within yourself, and then scenarios that breed happiness are attracted to you. They manifest for you. It's not that you're waiting for the external circumstances to arrive and give you happiness. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, third eye chakra. Yes, we've got blue aragonite, calmness and relaxation. So I remain calm in times of stress. You know what? Yeah, we talked about that earlier, that transitional periods are extremely stressful times. You really need to take time out to care for yourself. Okay, why does this sentence say, I take time for self-care and relaxation? Okay, Spirit. Spirit thinks they're real funny. Spirit's got jokes. Okay, so let's get some channeled advice here. Spirit, what advice do you have for pile 2 as they move forward on this journey? This really beautiful and very needed journey. Release the past as it is keeping you from the present. Yeah, I do think that you might end up in a situation as you are working with people, helping people, where you listen to yourself talking and you're like, ooh, I think this advice is for me. I mean, I certainly know that I do that. I know a lot of other readers do that as well. So yeah, I think doing your own work is a really important part of being a spiritual leader. Now is the time to pause and reflect before acting. Yeah, and so again, I think that comes back to, yeah, we've got relaxation, reflection. I mean, those are two very connected concepts. I think quiet time, where you can hear yourself think, just working that into your schedule on a, I was going to say on a regular basis, but I think on a daily basis. Just, yeah, even if you don't experience it as sort of formalized meditation, just quiet time where you allow your mind to wander uninfluenced. It's so important. Time to forge a new path. Yeah, I mean, yes, yes, on the verge of change. Absolutely. These cards came out on top of each other. Yeah, I think that you are likely going through a change that is similar to what you are going to guide people through in the future, or you have gone through it in the past. But I mean, honestly, yeah, like I had mentioned this before with the caterpillar metaphor, is that when you are a spiritual person and you are consistently chasing spiritual growth, you're kind of constantly in cocoon mode in some way. So yeah, it's kind of always time to forge a new path. And getting comfortable with that idea is kind of the hardest part. And then be honest with yourself and stay in alignment with who you are. Absolutely. Like, I think don't be influenced. Really work to proactively protect your spirit from outside influence, from people, because here's the other thing too. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody knows how you should be doing it because it's how they would do it. But you need to, I don't think it's an accident that this came out right on top of the third eye chakra. Spirit is telling you on a moment by moment basis what you need to say, what is going to be meaningful. Yeah, follow your intuition. Stay in alignment with who you are, pile 2, not who other people want you to be or think you should be. You're close enough to spirit. You're in tune enough with the 5D. Yeah, you know who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be. So stay true to that. Absolutely. Alrighty, so that is what I have for you. Again, it helps me and the channel so much if you, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to book a personal reading, the information is in the description. But I do want to wrap this up just by letting you know that you are loved. You are so loved, pile 2. You are worthy and you are enough. Okay, bye. Hello, pile 3. If you chose the Ascension Tarot, then you have arrived at your reading. Let's dive in. Spirit, that's too many. Spirit, tap me into what makes pile 3, what is their gifting? What is their calling? What is their soul meant to do? What is their starseed identity and power? What do you need them to know, Spirit, in order to fulfill that calling? Oh, wow, that one just really popped out. Oh my gosh. Something like this has happened in every pile so far. Look at the similarities between the art of this stone and the stones that are making up this sacred site here. Come on. Spirit is on fire today. Okay, what else, Spirit? One last card, please. One last oracle card, please, Spirit. Well, this is beautiful. My gosh. First of all, I think that a lot of your spiritual energy and your spiritual path, pile 3, has to do with balance. Because look, we have the heaviest, most solid thing over here, the stone. And then we have the lightest, most ephemeral thing over here. The card energy is pure, but This is what do they call that? It's not a daffodil. It's when you blow on it to make the wish. Why is my brain blank right now? Clearly my spiritual gifting is not memory. Okay, what flower do you blow on to make a wish? Dandelion, that's why. Yeah, I don't know if everyone with ADHD has this, but I definitely have this of when words sort of start with the same letter or sound the same, I get them not mixed up. Like I knew that wasn't the right word, but it just like switches a bit. So yeah, I'm tempted. I'm so tempted to play this off like I'm so cool and be like, yeah, that's a message from spirit. Like that definitely means something, but no, I don't think that it is. I think that it was just my goofy brain. So let's move on from that. All right. Yeah, so at any rate, dandelion. Yeah, so you blow on the dandelion, you make a wish. It scatters everywhere in this really beautiful, iconic childhood memory-making way. Yeah, those two images could not be more opposite. Like a stone stays put. A dandelion, the purpose of it kind of in that metaphor is to travel on the wind, to travel everywhere, to spread your wishes far and wide. Yeah, so I think that balancing between those two energies, between stability and whimsy, is a big part of what you're learning here. I feel like on the way to developing this gift that you have, which I do feel is about expanded consciousness, like achieving a higher level of understanding than most people will achieve in the 5D. Yeah, and I almost don't feel like this is even something where you have a calling to work with others. I think this is about your own spiritual evolution, pile 3. Which, of course, I think will help others, but in the sense that it's like, I think you send them your energy. I think, yeah, and if you're part of like a more mainstream traditional religious belief system, you would think of that as like praying for them. But I think that you have evolved to a level of awareness, a level of connectedness, a level of consciousness that just makes it very powerful when you send love and light and energy to people. I think that right now, though, the power of your energy and the power of your evolution is being hampered by the fact that I don't think you have a good balance between this very stable and solid energy and this more like expansive, accepting, intuitive energy. I think that I'm actually sensing like a split in the group here. I think there's one part of the group where you just really heavily lean toward one side or another, but I think there's another part of the group that it's like you vacillate back and forth very, very wildly between these two sides. And striking a balance is what you are meant to work toward. So we have with release, it's let go of expectations is the very first line there. And I think that's very powerful for you, pile 3, because I think that the way that this would generally be taken, I think the most like forefront meaning of it is let go of expectations that you have for the 3D life for the future. But I think in your situation, it's about letting go of expectations that others have of you. Society, family, friends, your partner, your work, just like all of these expectations about the way that you should be. Yeah, I think releasing them, and I mean, obviously to exist in society, there are certain expectations and norms that we have to uphold, like laws, for instance. But there are so many expectations that the world will try to put on us that are really just people's personal preference. Like, you're too loud. You're too quiet. You're too whatever. Like, why any sentence that is said to you or even implied that starts with you're too or why are you so, I mean, the person has then basically outed themselves as someone whose opinion you are not going to want to take into account, pile 3. That person has expectations of you. That person wants you to fit into a little tiny box of their making. They want you to make yourself smaller so they can be more comfortable. That's not what we're doing now. No, we are meeting our own expectations and Spirit's expectations. And that is all. That is the only thing that we are concerned with. And that actually works out well because Spirit's main expectation of us is just to be true to ourselves. Like, Spirit's role is to support us, if anything, in the choices that we make and the lessons that we're learning. Yeah, and the only thing that Spirit expects of us in return is to make choices and pursue paths that lead us toward expanded consciousness and lead us toward, the path that our soul incarnated with the purpose of pursuing. So yeah, this also says detox your body and express pent-up emotions. With express pent-up emotions, I'm actually going to add to that, and I'm going to say this is also a journey of learning to set boundaries before you have pent-up emotions. Because pent-up emotions generally, they arise from us allowing our boundaries to be violated, from us just, taking a deep breath and letting it go because it's just not worth it to get into it. And yeah, this is going to cause more drama than it's worth it. But at what point are we just basically existing on everybody else's timeline, everybody else's blueprint? Like, there does come a point where you have to say some version of when someone's like, what you really should, and you break in and say, you know what, I'm going to stop you right there and just let you know that as helpful as I'm sure what you have to say would have been, cough, not, but, we're handling it gracefully. I'm really not open for advice on that topic. It's just not something that's helpful. So I appreciate it, but I'm just going to stop you right there. And then, honestly, if it were me, turn around and leave the room because there's nothing that needs to be said after that. No is a complete sentence. I mean, if you're a little more blunt than me, you could actually just do that. Someone starts with, you know what? I hate to bring it up, and then you just go, don't then. I'm good. We don't need to do that then. Yeah, I do think it's interesting that there are all these little social softening phrases for people to inject prior to them being a jackass, that it basically just gives them cover for if you don't take it well, then they can say, what? I was just, or I said, no offense, or, whatever. But yeah, we don't have to take that anymore, pile 3. And I think setting those boundaries, and the thing that I'm noticing about this sacred site card here, about the artwork, is it's actually set up in a circle. Like, in many spiritual traditions, the idea of a circle is one of protection. I mean, even mainstream religions have that idea in many of their symbols of a circle of protection, a hedge of protection. So yeah, I think it's about surrounding yourself with this bubble of white light protection, where you are pretty much impervious to other people's expectations. And I think that is not just an energetic bubble, but it is also a bubble of boundaries, that you set actual boundaries with people, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. Here's the thing, they're not going to take it well. Like, that's also a fallacy I think that people fall into, is they're like, yes, standing up for myself is the right thing. And then, it blows up in your face and everybody's angry and everybody's fighting. And you're like, well, I thought this was the right thing to do. Yeah, it still is. Because you know what? Anyone who reacts that poorly to you setting a healthy boundary for yourself, they were never on your side in the first place. And, if they react really poorly to it, and if there is a fallout of consequences, the one person that you have just proved to yourself is on your side, you, pile 3. And that's the most important person. If you have you on your side and spirit on your side, yeah, that's better than having a bunch of fair weather friends on your side. Yeah, okay, exit rant. I'm stepping off my soapbox. But yeah, I think that at least for the grouping here, who the issue that you are working on is that you're vacillating back and forth between like being very solid and being very like blown to and fro, is this idea of trying to meet other people's expectations, trying to be normal, trying to fit in. Like, if you're neurodivergent like I am, that's masking. It's very exhausting, and it's not your soul's purpose. Okay, so sacred site, energize your home, visit an energy vortex, practice sacred rituals. Yeah, and I think with this energize your home, turning your home into a very restful, protective, sacred place for you to recharge and re-energize, that is really important. And I think that, again, that involves not just the objects that you surround yourself with, but it involves the energy that you put out into your home. And it also involves the energy that you allow in your home. So yeah, if you have to kind of go hermit mode for a while, like you're the only one who, well, obviously if you have a family, like, I'm not advocating kicking out like your preschooler because you're like, you're just not good for my energy right now. But like, I'm talking about like the nucleus of the home. If for a while it just needs to be the people that live in the home are the people that are coming into the home for a while until you feel like the energy is really stabilized, that could be a good idea. That could be a really good idea. And then we have consciousness, which I really think is the end goal for you here, pile 3. I think that is what you are meant to strive to achieve, is higher consciousness, expanded consciousness, expanding your viewpoint, focus on the bigger picture, and communing with source. Yeah, so I would definitely, and especially with this card pure here, I would definitely start some sort of daily spiritual ritual, whatever really resonates with you, whether that's meditation, deep breathing exercises, communing with nature, journaling. I think the consistency of it and the intentions behind it, I think, are the important things, less so than the actual activity. Yeah. Oh, and you know what I just actually realized as I was picking up the tarot is this whole pile is about ascending and gaining higher consciousness. And this is the pile that picked the Ascension Tarot. So that is pretty stinking cool. Yeah, I also think there's a connection to be drawn between this energy of your home and the idea of pure by setting some boundaries, at least until you are really solid with the energy that, that you are in control of the energy of your home. I think that just like keeping the energy as pure as possible by choosing very carefully whose energy is allowed to enter the space. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, we got the Queen of Wands here. Yes, hello. Most magical queen in the deck. Most skilled manifesting queen in the deck. Yes, definitely. Well, I think it would be hard to say that she's the most connected to spirit, because I feel like each of the queens is just connected to spirit in their own gifting, in their own way. But in the sense of like expanded consciousness, in the sense of like the magical ways of being connected to spirit, I mean, that's definitely her realm and her domain. I wonder if you're not an artist in some way. Pile 3. Yeah, I wonder if you're not like a painter or a writer or a composer, a poet. Oh, look at this. She's a mermaid. Aw. Why did I just sound like I was in first grade being excited about that? She's a mermaid. I mean, mermaids are pretty great, though. Yeah, I think that you are trying to achieve what poets and philosophers and songwriters and any kind of artist has really been trying to achieve since the beginning of time, which is to understand and then explain the nature of the universe, the nature of love, the human condition, and express it. Express it through your art. And to be clear, this doesn't mean that you need to be an artist by trade. Like there's some, extremely fortunate and rare people do make a living through their art, but that doesn't make them a more valid artist than someone who does it for the pure love of it. And in fact, one could argue that someone who does it with no monetary reward and with no pressure to have output or content in order to be able to survive, like one could argue that the person who does it just for the sheer joy of the art is actually the more quote unquote pure artist. Like, I don't believe that. I believe that everyone's walking their own path and there's no reason to compare, but I only offer that as a counterbalancing perspective from people that believe that if you're not a professional writer, if you're not a professional musician, if you're not a professional whatever, that it's not as valid or you are not as valid as an artist. And frankly, that is bullshit. So yeah, your art, your soul, your expression is just as valid. Even if the only writing that you do is journaling for your own, working it out, basically like your own spiritual ascension, your your way of gathering your thoughts and expressing your view of the nature of the universe for your own edification, you are still a writer. You have written and it's for a purpose. You are a writer. Yeah, the reason why it's taking me a little bit to decide even where to start talking about this is because it's so expansive. It's so broad. It's so just like everything. Like, what is your purpose? It's everything. And it is more specific than that. It's sort of like taking in everything and synthesizing it into something beautiful that symbolizes everything to other people so that they can share in your understanding of everything in the universe. So yeah, just that little task, pile 3. I mean, you should have that done by tomorrow, right? Like your calling is just like quite simple, pile 3, right? But I think that where I'm having a problem, like even finding an entrance in where to start talking about this, I think might be something that has held you back in following this path, is because I think that even if you're not aware of it enough to express it, even in the way that I just did, I think your soul senses the weight of it and the breadth of it. And I think it's probably overwhelming. And so I think that it's like, but where do I even start? And I think the answer is just start. Journaling has come up as an example a couple of times in this reading. Journaling might be the place to start. Yeah, and if you, this strikes me as the pile that's going to have the higher instance of neurodivergence as well. So yeah, if you've got issues maybe with dyslexia or just focus on writing and reading, or you can dictate as well. I think that might be the other thing that's holding you back is just, I think that your brain might process things and also synthesize things in a way that is not the standard, in a way that is not the mainstream. So I think it never really got addressed in formal schooling of how you would tackle a big subject, break it down, think about it, synthesize it, organize your thoughts, output those thoughts. Like that process gets taught to us in school, but I think it was never taught to you in a way that made sense to your brain. So I think that is going to be, with this 8 of crystals here, that's the idea of learning something from scratch, but learning it to a level of mastery. And I think that this is something that you are going to have to teach yourself. I think you are going to have to work with your own brain and your own strengths to figure out the best process for you. And I mean, no offense against the school system. I think that most individual people in the school system are doing their best. But I think that overall, we are failing. I say we. I was a classroom teacher for 5 years. I still have a strong emotional affinity to the educational system and to my identity as a teacher. But I mean, as hard as I tried and as good as my intentions were, I know that there are students that I absolutely failed them. I hate to think about that because, like I said, my heart was really there and my intentions were very good, but I didn't have the emotional capacity for them, or I didn't have the resources for them, or I didn't have the education that I have now, or the recognition of what was actually going on with them. I was undiagnosed with ADHD, so a lot of times I just dropped the ball because of that. And I mean, believe me, when I tell you that the one thing that wasn't true was that I didn't care enough. So I do think that there are a lot of students out there and adults now who went through the school system, and you probably encountered people either who didn't care or who were like me. They did care, but their hands were tied by various factors. And so, yeah, I think there might be a lot of like personal shame or self-recrimination that you're going to have to overcome from pressure that was put on you, or from frustration by teachers when you just didn't get it the way that they wanted to explain it. Yeah, sorry to like inject my own emotions into it, but yeah, like it makes me very sad to think that a student could leave 12 years of schooling with even well-meaning teachers and still just be completely failed, like we failed them. But I know that it happens. It happens more often than I really like to think about. And I'm really sorry if that happened to you, Pile 3. But I think the thing that to really try to embody and understand is that was not your fault. That was not like no student I had who left my classroom with me having dropped the ball in whatever way, like however much that was or was not my fault. The one thing that's certain is it wasn't their fault. So yeah, it wasn't your fault, Pile 3. Yeah, and I think that if you can, approach this process of, it's, the thing that's coming to mind is like Henry Winkler. He had dyslexia, and then he ended up becoming a writer, and he wrote this really just amazing, awesome series of children's books. And so that might be like, you might be feeling a calling to some project or some, artistic endeavor that actually you feel like, I'm the last person that would be able to do that. That's my exact weakness. But I feel like this is a situation where your weakness is actually going to be your strength, because I think that's going to be the thing that lets people like you relate to what you're saying, because they don't get information or artistic content expressed very often in the way that strikes a chord with them. But from you, they will. Your output will resonate with them because you are like them. Yeah, and I think that this is going to be such a beautiful, it's like with the Six of Cups, it's like it's soulmate energy. It's like recognizes like is drawn to like. Yeah, and again, this is reminiscent a little bit of Pile 1, that I think that there is a whole group of people out there that don't even know that they're waiting for you, Pile 3, but they are. Yeah, they really are. Okay, so now I want to pull some crystals that would be useful for you to work with in order to move forward on this path. And if this has resonated with you, I would love it if you would comment whatever you feel comfortable sharing in the comments. I would love to read about that. If you would like the video, if you would subscribe, if you'd like to see more content like this, all of that really helps me, helps the channel to grow. And I really, really appreciate it, like deeply appreciate it as well. And if you'd like to book a personal reading, the information is in the description. Okay, so we have crown chakra. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Selenite, openness and access. Okay, so access is a word that's actually kind of, a buzzword about accessibility, about educational accessibility. Yeah, so that leads me to believe that you have, I mean, whether it's neurodivergence, whether like you have some way that your brain operates outside of the mainstream and it wasn't addressed properly. You were not supported in the way that you should have been supported. And I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that happened. That shouldn't have happened. But Spirit is bringing you access now to like way more than you ever could have learned in school. So yeah, all of it is going to be made up for, pile 3. Like Spirit has such amazing plans for you. So it says, I am open to new ideas and experiences, and I access higher dimensional ways of thinking. Yes. And I mean that, yes, absolutely. Like if your brain was just the standard processing brain, you would not be built right for what your calling is, because you wouldn't be able to access these higher dimensional ways of thinking. Like you are a starseed, like you are not of this world. And so you probably have experienced some really painful instances of not fitting in, pile 3. And while I feel really terribly for that, and you certainly didn't deserve it, like there is a purpose to it. It wasn't just, pointless pain. Well, that one wanted to come out so badly that it flipped right off the table. Let me see if I can reach it. Almost got it. Got it. Ooh, that's pretty. Labradorite. Third eye chakra. I mean, yes. Third eye chakra. 100%. Yeah, we've got transformation and synchronicity. So I am always transforming spiritually. I understand the significance of synchronicities. Yeah, I think your brain is probably pretty good at recognizing patterns, pile 3. I think that you make connections where other people don't necessarily see a connection. Okay, and then we have, and again, the crown chakra. Come on now. Come on now. Yes, so if you didn't believe me, pile 3, that your spiritual calling is a higher evolution of consciousness, let me go crown chakra, third eye chakra, crown chakra. Yes, expanded consciousness. That is your birthright, pile 3. Okay, so we have dissipation and reorganization. I demand that all negatives dissipate. Yes, please. I reorganize parts of my life often. Alrighty. So we've got selenite, labradorite, and lepidolite. So L might be some kind of significant initial in your life. It is time to forge a new path. Yeah, I think that it is. And I think that this new path is one that you have been resisting, even though you felt drawn to it because you thought that you didn't have the skills to walk it. But you do. You do, pile 3. In this, remember to care for yourself and your needs. Yeah, and I think that extending grace to yourself, and also maybe saying affirmations, just really filling yourself up with the idea that you are special, you are chosen. And if that feels even too confronting, maybe just start out more at a baseline, like I am good enough. I am 100% good enough. Now is the time to pause and reflect before acting. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is inside energetic work. I'll be honest with you, pile 3. I don't know how much like acting there is going to need to be. Like a lot of this is interior work. And then walk away from it. And I will say, to me, I am interpreting that as walking away from self-limiting beliefs. But it might also mean walking away. Like some of you might still be in the situation that caused those self-limiting beliefs in the first place. And so definitely, I think walking away from that is sort of step 1. Because yeah, if those beliefs are very deeply ingrained, it would take 24 hours a day of affirmations to kind of evict those beliefs from your brain if you are still in the environment that created them in the first place. So yeah, for some people, it might not be as easy as just a one-step process of walking away. If the toxic relationships are extremely entwined, especially if there's like financial entanglements, living situation entanglements, things like that. But yeah, I mean, let today be the first step of knowing that you are not going to be in that situation forever, pile 3. Wow, this was an emotional pile. Yeah, wow. All right. So yeah, just to reiterate, if this reading resonated with you, liking and commenting are a really simple but incredibly appreciated way to support the channel. And it helps the channel grow. It helps the videos spread, and I truly appreciate it. And if you did want to book a personal reading, like if you're interested in potentially hearing me cry for another 20 minutes of your life, no, this is rarer. That doesn't always happen. But yes, if you did want to book a personal reading, the information is in the description. And I am going to wrap this up by letting you know that pile 3, you are loved, you are worthy, and you are enough. Okay, bye. Hello, everybody. So we are going to go through what decks were used in the reading, if that's the sort of thing that you're interested in. So we're going to start out with the tarot decks. Pile 1 used the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed. That's what the back looks like, and this is what the front looks like, what the card faces look like. Gorgeous. Okay, pile 2 was the Superlunaris Tarot. Oh, upside down. Also just so gorgeous. Pile 3 was the Ascension Tarot. Okay, and then we used the Midnight Oracle. The Starseed Path Oracle. And the Soul Seeds Oracle. The Crystal Chakra Deck Oracle. And the Into the Mystic Oracle. Alrighty, so I am going to wrap this up again by letting you know that you are loved, You are worthy and you are enough. Okay, bye.